Hi everybody, this is Spring, the fiber enthusiast. I am back with a new knitting tutorial. This is a knit stitch pattern. It is called the Seed Stitch Simple. So it's your basic seed stitch. For this swatch, I had cast on a total of 18 stitches, so that way I would have a border stitch on both sides, plus my multiples of 4 for this pattern. So if you would like to do the seed stitch pattern, you can see it's got these little purl bumps. You would need to have multiples of 4. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to set that aside. It's not a hard pattern to do at all. It is actually a very simple pattern. There is actually 7 rows, and you repeat those 7 rows in order to gain this seed stitch. So row 1, we're going to knit that border stitch. This is not part of your multiples of 4. This is just a border stitch. Okay, row 1 pattern begins knit 3, purl 1. That is your repeat across your multiples of 4. Knit 1, 2, 3, purl 1. That's all there is to row 1. That is your repeat. So knit 1, 2, 3, purl 1. Knit 1, 2, 3. I did several repeats. Purl 1, and the last one, 1, 2, 3, and purl that last stitch of your last multiple of 4. And again, I have a border stitch on each side, so I'm just going to knit those. Turn your work over. The yarn I'm using is like a Caron Simply Soft. It's classified a 4, but it's a little bit on the thinner side. And Clover US size 8 or 5mm circular needle. Not that it really matters, because you can do this with whatever yarn and whatever recommended needle size. Okay, row 2 and all alternating rows. So 2, 4, and 6, all you do is purl your row. I'm gonna knit that first stitch, the border stitch. And purl every stitch across. Now, if you're needing to know how to do purl and knit stitches, I will add the playlist that goes over the beginning basic knit stitches and purl stitches, things like that. I will add that playlist at the end of this video. So that's all to row 2, just purl across your row. And knit that last stitch for my border stitch. Okay, so that was row 2. Turn your work over for row 3. Row 3 is another easy one. Knit all stitches, so knit across. So row 3 is knit. Row 4 is another purl all stitches row. So you can go ahead and fast forward if you like. I'm going to knit all of these stitches and then purl all of the next stitches. I will put timestamps down in the description box as to each row. That stitch marker jumped right into that stitch. There we go. Okay, turn your work over for row 4. Gonna knit my border stitches and purl all pattern stitches. Another easy row for row 4. Gonna move just a little faster on those purls and knit rows because this isn't technically a beginner. I'm not teaching how to do the knit stitch and the purl stitch here, so. I don't know about y'all, but if you guys have issues with these light bulb stitch markers when knitting, let me know, because they're aggravating sometimes. Okay, so that is 4. Let's move on to 5. 5 is another design part of this row 7. To get these bumps, you have a few rows of knitting and purling, and then you have a row that will create these little bumps. And then you go back to knitting and purling, and then again, these little bumps. So I call them the design row because that's the row that you're actually going to see the design in. Row 5 is one of those rows. I'm going to knit that border stitch first, and now we'll go straight into row 5. Row 5 is knit 1. Now your repeat begins. Purl 1 and knit 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the repeat across until the last 3 stitches. So purl 1, knit 1, 2, and 3. Purl 1, knit 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I've come to 3 stitches before my marker, and that is purl 1, knit 2. Slip your marker and knit your border stitches. Salvage edge stitch, border stitch, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then row 6 is purl all of your pattern stitches. So knit your border stitch, slip your marker when you come to it, and purl all those pattern stitches in between your stitch markers. Coming up to the last few stitches here. Knit that last border stitch and turn your work over, and let's do the last row. The last row is a knitted row. Another simple row. And then you would just repeat rows 1 through 7 for the remainder of the work for your pattern. So you just knit across row 7. And it gives that really cool little look to it. Now there are more complicated seed stitch patterns, which I will get into in the future knitting tutorials. We'll do some more knitted seed stitch patterns that are a little more complicated, but this is a starter. And there we go. So as you can see, you have the little bumps here of your seed stitch pattern. Okay, I hope you all have enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give me a thumbs up down below. Have you used the seed stitch pattern before? If you have, what have you used it for? I would like to know what you've used it for. Okay, everybody. Thank you again for watching. Be blessed and be a blessing. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.